The 1980s were a wild time for Australian television, a decade when ads were more than just sales pitches. They were miniature movies filled with catchy jingles, strange mascots, and an unmistakable Aussie charm that no one else in the world could replicate. This was the golden age of marketing, when brands weren't afraid to get weird, funny, or downright emotional to win over viewers. From talking flies and singing jelly cups to rugged blokes and sun-smart seagulls, the commercials of this era didn't just sell products, they defined what it meant to be Australian. Each one captured a piece of our culture, our humor, and our way of life. So today, we're diving deep into the nostalgia vault to revisit the top 10 vintage Australian commercials from the 1980s. The ads that made us laugh, sing along, and sometimes wonder, how on earth did this ever get approved? And trust me, number 4 might just be the most unforgettable ad ever made. Number 1, Mortain, Louis the Fly, 1980s, Revival. Let's start with one of the most recognizable faces, or rather, flies, in Australian advertising history, Louis the Fly. Created back in the 1950s, Louis was already a national icon by the time the 1980s rolled around. But it was during this decade that his cheeky, tough guy personality was revived and perfected. The raspy voice, the swagger, and that unforgettable jingle, Louis the Fly, straight from rubbish tip to you, became a part of everyday life. What made Louis so memorable wasn't just the animation or the song, it was how human he felt. He was dirty, proud, and somehow lovable, everything an Aussie villain should be. And when Mortain would swoop in to destroy him, it was less about pest control and more about storytelling. Fun fact, the same voice actor, Neil Williams, voiced Louis for over 40 years, making him one of the longest-running brand characters in Australian history. This wasn't just an ad, it was a national tradition that kids and adults both sang along to. Number 2, Vegemite, Happy Little Vegemitas, 1980s, rerun. If there's one product that defines Australia more than any other, it's Vegemite. And no ad captured that national pride better than "We're happy little Vegemites, as bright can be." Originally filmed in the 1950s, the black and white commercial featured smiling kids marching and singing about their love for the salty spread. But in the 1980s, it came roaring back, this time in full color, broadcast across a new generation of Australian homes. The revival wasn't just about nostalgia. It was a smart move that connected parents who grew up with the jingle to their own children. For millions of Aussies, that tune at breakfast time meant more than just a snack. It meant family, identity, and home. The ad became so iconic that Vegemite wasn't just a product anymore. It became a symbol of what it meant to be Australian, something you either loved or, well, learned to love. Okay, that was wholesome, but the next one is where things start getting bizarre. Number 3, Tooheys Beer, How Do You Feel, 1985. Now this is pure Aussie energy. In 1985, Tooheys Beer launched a campaign that wasn't just about selling drinks, it was about capturing a feeling. The famous jingle, How Do You Feel, became an anthem for mateship, summer weekends, and backyard barbecues. The commercial showed Aussies in their element, cracking open a cold one after a long day, celebrating small victories, or just relaxing by the beach. It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't overproduced, it was real. That authenticity struck a chord with the country. Every time the jingle played, you didn't just remember the product, you remembered the moment. The laughter, the smell of the grill, the sound of waves in the distance. Tooheys turned a simple beer into a shared national ritual. It became one of the most successful Australian beer ads ever, and even decades later, people can still hum the tune from memory. You thought that one hit the Aussie spirit perfectly? Wait till you see number 4, it's the ad that became part of everyday language. Number 9, Yellow Pages, Not Happy, Jan, 1980s. This one isn't just a commercial, it's part of Australian pop culture. The Yellow Pages, Not Happy Jan ad became so popular that the phrase itself entered everyday language. The setup was simple but brilliant. A boss is standing by her office window, flipping through the freshly printed yellow pages. She suddenly realizes her employee, Jan, forgot to place their company's ad in the directory. What follows is a moment of pure comedic gold. The boss leans out the window and yells, "Not happy, Jan," in that perfectly exasperated tone. It was short, sharp, and hilariously relatable. Every Aussie knew that feeling of frustration when someone forgets something important, but what made it unforgettable was how real it felt. No special effects, no gimmicks, just timeless humor and perfect delivery. The ad was such a hit that the phrase, "Not happy, Jan," became an everyday saying across Australia, even used in Parliament and news headlines years later. You thought that was funny? Wait till you see number 5, it's pure chaos on wheels. Number 5, Holden, football, meat pies, kangaroos, and Holden cars. 1980s version. If there was ever an ad that summed up what it meant to be Australian, this was it. Holden's football, meat pies, kangaroos and Holden cars was more than a jingle, it was a national anthem disguised as an advertisement. Adapted from an American Chevrolet campaign, Holden gave it a distinctly Aussie twist. The song tied together the country's favorite pastimes, cheering at the footy, enjoying a meat pie, spotting kangaroos, and of course, driving a Holden. It was patriotic, catchy, and impossible to forget. The ad showed proud Aussies from all walks of life, families, workers, and sports fans, all united by their love for the Holden brand. It wasn't selling a car, it was selling a lifestyle, one that celebrated national pride and community spirit. For decades, this jingle echoed through TV sets during major sporting events, embedding itself deep into Australia's cultural memory. Even people who never owned a Holden still remember the words. That one hit every Aussie heartstring, but the next one did something totally different. It actually helped save lives. Number 6, Slip, Slop, Slap. Cancer Council campaign, 1981. Now this one wasn't selling a product, it was saving lives. The Slip, Slop, Slap campaign from the Cancer Council is often called the most successful health advertisement in Australian history. It featured a cheerful, animated seagull named Sid, who danced across the screen singing, "Slip on a shirt, slop on sunscreen, and slap on a hat." Simple, catchy, and unforgettable. Kids loved Sid, adults remembered the message, and suddenly, sun safety became part of everyday conversation. Australia has one of the highest rates of skin cancer in the world, and before this campaign, most people didn't take sun protection seriously. But after Slip, Slop, Slap hit the airwaves, it completely changed public behavior, especially among children. It was bright, funny, and delivered a life-saving message in the most Aussie way possible. Friendly, musical, and easy to remember. Even today, decades later, the slogan is still taught in schools and used in modern campaigns. Alright, that one was educational, but the next one? It made everyone hungry and a little bit nostalgic. Number 7, Violet Crumble. It's the way it shatters that matters. 1980s edition. By the mid-1980s, chocolate ads were turning into mini blockbusters, and Violet Crumble led the charge. This campaign became legendary for one simple reason: destruction looked delicious. The slogan, "It's the way it shatters that matters," wasn't just catchy, it became a cultural phrase. Each commercial showed that iconic honeycomb bar snapping apart in glorious slow motion. Crumbs flying, chocolate exploding, filmed with such precision that it felt more like a science experiment than a snack ad. What made it brilliant was the drama. They treated breaking chocolate like breaking sound barriers. Viewers didn't just want to eat a Violet Crumble, they wanted to smash one. It was a perfect example of how Australian advertisers in the 80 seconds turned simplicity into spectacle. That tagline stuck for decades, passed from generation to generation, becoming part of the country's advertising DNA. Even now, when someone hears it, they can still picture that satisfying crunch. Fun fact: Violet Crumble was one of the first Australian confectionery brands to experiment with slow-motion macro food shots, the kind of technique that's now standard in modern commercials. That tagline made mouths water, but the next ad somehow made people fall in love with a singing cockroach. Number 8, Solo. The Solo Man, 1982 to 1989. Now we shift gears from soft jingles to hard action, because in the 1980s, no Australian ad screamed manliness louder than the Solo Man. These commercials were cinematic mini-movies, the kind of thing that made every kid grab a can of Solo and pretend they were scaling a cliff face. Each ad featured rugged Aussie blokes performing over-the-top stunts, kayaking through raging rivers, chopping wood, or racing dirt bikes, all ending the same way. They'd pop open an ice-cold can of Solo, pour it down like victory fuel, and say, "Nothing," because real men didn't need to explain themselves. It was the decade's definition of toughness, pure, sweaty heroism sold through lemon-flavored soft drink. And the tagline? The Thirst Crusher. It was short, punchy, and unforgettable. The Solo Man became a pop culture icon, symbolizing rugged independence and outdoor adventure. But looking back, the ads are almost comically exaggerated, a glimpse into an era where masculinity was marketed like a sport. Despite their intensity, the campaigns worked, Solo sales soared, and the brand became a staple in Aussie households. Decades later, the Solo Man would even be reimagined for modern audiences, a tribute to one of the boldest advertising legends of the 1980s. If you thought that was over the top, wait till you see how a chocolate bar ad turned destruction into an art form. Number 9. Aeroplane Jelly. I like aeroplane jelly. Revival, 1980s, TV spots. Now, if there's one sound that could instantly transport Australians back in time, it's that bouncy little tune, I like aeroplane jelly. Aeroplane jelly for me. This jingle was first written in the 1930s, but during the 1980s, aeroplane jelly brought it back with a colourful new twist. Televisions had gone full colour by then, and the brand seized the moment, reviving the iconic melody with bright visuals, animated jelly characters, and that same innocent charm that had made it famous half a century earlier. The campaign was simple: joy, childhood, and sugar. It wasn't about selling a product, it was about selling a feeling. Every Aussie kid could relate to it, from the wobbly dessert at Sunday lunch to the nostalgia it stirred in their parents, who'd grown up with the same jingle on the radio. Fun fact, the original singer of the 1930s version, Joy King, was just 13 years old, and the revival honored her by keeping the melody almost exactly the same. It bridged generations, connecting grandparents and kids through one of the most recognizable tunes in Australian advertising history. It was proof that sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel, just let it wobble like jelly. Okay, that one was sweet and wholesome, but the next commercial, it went in the complete opposite direction. Think action, sweat, and pure Aussie toughness. Number 10. Paul Hogan, Winfield Cigarettes. Ad 1980 to 81. Before the world knew him as Crocodile Dundee, Paul Hogan was already a national icon, the face of Aussie humour. In the early 1980s, long before cigarette ads were banned, Hogan appeared in a wildly popular series of commercials for Winfield cigarettes. His catchphrase, delivered with that effortless grin, became legendary. Anyhow, have a Winfield. It was cheeky, casual, and perfectly captured the laid-back, no-worries spirit of Australia at the time. Unlike the sleek, glamorous cigarette ads of the US or Europe, Hogan's Winfield spots were raw and real. He wasn't trying to be James Bond, he was just Hoagies, the bloke next door, cracking jokes and lighting up after a long day's work. The ads were filmed with minimal polish, just Hogan, a camera, and his signature wink at the audience. And that's what made them work. They felt authentic, funny, and unmistakably Australian. Of course, as tobacco regulations tightened later in the decade, the ads disappeared from TV screens, but by then, Hogan had already moved on to Hollywood fame. For many Aussies, though, those Winfield commercials remain a time capsule of simpler days before advertising was sanitized and globalized, when personality mattered more than polish. That one had charm, but the next ad brought back a tune so sweet it turned every living room into a sing-along. And there you have it, 10 unforgettable moments of Aussie advertising history. The jingles that stuck in our heads, the faces we'll never forget, and the slogans that became part of our everyday language. From cheeky humor to heartfelt nostalgia, these ads weren't just selling products, they were capturing a nation's personality. Bold, funny, a little bit weird, and absolutely iconic. Let me know down in the comments, I love reading your memories. And if you enjoyed this little trip back to the 80 seconds, give the video a thumbs up, share it with your mates, and hit subscribe so you don't miss more vintage Aussie moments like this one.